Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Happy Thursday. Today I'm going to be doing the next two stages of the Hachette Partworks release of Build the Mark III Lancaster Bomber. So as you can see here, I'm going to be doing stages 24 and 25. But before we get into it, I just want to quickly show you something. We've got a leaflet in stage 24. And you will see that because in the main magazine here, we have got this leaflet. Get that out. And it's basically saying that there was a production issue of one of the parts. They've replaced the parts with some in a little plastic bag there. And they've done the same in stage 25. So if I bring over stage 24, you can see we've got the cardboard box, which is full of all the parts. But we do have the addition of having these parts here, which are replacement parts that we're going to be having to use in this stage, and we've got exactly the same in stage 25 as well. So if you have got your magazine, don't throw away the top. Make sure you look out for those spare parts that we actually got to replace in here. Now, I haven't opened the magazine. I think we are working on the undercarriage, but we're going to find that out together. Now, if you want to get this for yourself, I've put a link in the video description, and there's also a QR code on the screen. But let's see what we're doing. Without further ado, let's get cracking. So here's the stage 24 magazine. As you see, we've got some tweezers in this one. They do recommend putting just some protection over the ends of the tweezers here. Actually, they tell you about that here, so you don't scratch any of the paintwork. I'll probably do that. I normally use heat shrink, to be honest with you. I'll put some heat shrink just over the top. But we are going to be putting these together. I believe these are the parts that we're swapping out with the replacement parts. But some of these bits, look at these pins, are absolutely tiny. So we're going to be putting these into position, just like this. So at the end of this stage, we've got our first undercarriage there. So this is the rest of the magazine. And by the look of it, we're going to be adding on to that in stage 25. So I do want to just keep these to one side. Now, not only do we have the replacement parts, but I'm guessing they already figured that we might be pinging some of these little pins across the room. So they provided some spares for us in here as well. Now, these are the tweezers, and let me just show you what I'm going to do with those. I do have this big box of heat shrink. I believe this might be in my Amazon store actually, and all I'm going to do is pick a small bit of heat shrink, just figuring out what sort of size, perhaps this green one actually, that will safely go over the ends like this. I think that one's looking good. Perhaps a bit bigger. Let's try this black one here. There you go, and I can shrink this down to actually protect the ends of the tweezers from damaging the paintwork. And there we go. That's how that looks. Okay, so the first part we need is in this bag here, which looks like this. Now this is all metal, just so you know, and we are going to be putting on the first bit of the shock absorber on the main shock, which I'm guessing's in one of these bags. There they are. But it's these ones that are being swapped out. So I want to keep these to the other side and bring over the bag pack that we have in this pack. Now, do you remember I was telling you about the pins? Look at those. Look how tiny they are compared to my fingernail. That's crazy. Let's keep them safe. Okay, first thing I want to do is I want to take this bracket here, and it's going to be going into this little section here. So when I've pushed it on, let me just get it all the way on here. Just like that. Quite a hard push. We want to make sure that the open end is in the same direction as these points just here. And what I'm going to be doing is taking one of these shocks, and I'm going to be attaching that to the two holes from the other side there. Now this is where I'm going to need magnifying glasses, because in this bag we've got some of those tiny pins that you saw we had spares of. I've got another pair of these pliers which I haven't got protection on. The reason being is I want to get a good grip of these pins in these pliers. So these ones here have got protection, these ones here haven't, because I need to line up the holes here and get this pin in. Now it's the smooth side that's going in first. And there we go, we've got that in just on the one side there, and then I can close it up just like that. There we go. That's the first one in place. Perfect. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, making sure that when I put this bracket in, which I'll put in now, it sort of goes in a direction. You want to make sure it's sort of facing up, so it's in that sort of direction there. And then once again, grab one of these pins and put the replacement shock into place. Piece it together with the pliers again to close it off. There you go, and that's both of those in place. Perfect. Now underneath these sections I've got the retraction struts to put into place. Now they're going to be going into here exactly the same way. We're going to be taking one of these tiny pins and pushing that in from the side to hold it all together. Now this one I am using my pliers with the protection because I don't want to break that. They're harder to get in. We do want to make sure that they're in this direction here. And do the same on the other side. Just to review what we got, this is what it's looking like on each side here. Excellent. Let's put that to one side, and I'm going to bring over the wheel now. Now on the wheel we're just going to be pushing one side through there. This is quite a rubbery material, if you can see that. And the other side is just going to connect to the other side here. It's a case of just pushing them together. Now this is going to go between the landing gear that we got here. It's a tight fit, but I want to line everything up with the holes because we have got a massive pin now in here to put through both of those. Now with this one I will just drop it in a little bit of oil. We want to put the smooth end in through first, so it goes all the way through. Make sure it comes out the other side okay. And I'm actually just pushing this down onto my workstation to make sure that that pin has now gone all the way through. And with that done, that is all there is to do in that stage. So as you can see here in stage 25, it's the same deal. This time we have got another replacement part, but it's not the shocks this time. We've got two little pins in there, but we've also got these brackets here as well. So we need to replace whatever is in this box. So looking at the instructions, again, it's telling us the same leaflet that we had in the last stage. Get that out of the way. And it looks like we've got some framework for these. These are the parts that we're swapping out. And again, we've got 4 small pins, 2 slightly larger ones. So we're going to be piecing these together just like this. Adding this to what we created in the last stage. So in the end, it's going to look just like this here. Here's the rest of the magazine. And then finally, this is what we've got coming in the next part. The starboard undercarriage bay, shock absorber, hydraulic unit, shock absorber joints, cog hinges, pins and screws. So straight away, so I don't get confused, I'm just going to put these to one side because it's these ones I'm going to be using, which are labelled 25 SP. Take all of these little pins out as well. I still can't believe how tiny these pins are. Look at that. Okay, we're going to use the very smallest ones first. So I'm just looking at this section here. Again, it's metal and it is symmetrical by the look of it. So it doesn't matter which way round we've got this coming, as long as we continue putting things in exactly the right way. So this here is just going to be going onto this section just at the end like that. And it's going to be held in with one of these really tiny pins. Just going to use my heat shrink pliers just to push that in all the way there. Excellent. And there we go. That's one in. Do exactly the same on the other side with the other one. So push it in and line it up with all the holes. And then a really tiny pin just to push that in. And then again, my heat shrink pliers, as I call them, just to push that into place. There we go. We've got 2 into position there. Now on the end of these, I do need these brackets now. Spare pins in here, remember, as well. And we're going to want them to face this way round, if you can see. So when I push this on, and I'll push one onto this side here, whoops. If you look on the top camera there, that's what way these are going to go on. Now once again, it is one of the really tiny pins that we're going to be pushing through here. And again, using my pliers here with the heat shrink round, I'm just going to push that down into place. So I'm going to show you again just on the side camera. So if this one has got this bracket in the middle here, this is the direction this should be down on the other side there. And we're just mirroring that on the other side over here. So I've zoomed up the top camera. That's how that should look. Excellent. Now I want to bring over what we worked on in the last stage. This is going to be going either side of these points just here. Now they go in the very first hole and they're going to be held in by the larger of the pins that we get in this stage. And then just push that in. And quite simply, do the same on the other side. Now, something I have noticed that these pins that are going into this side here do seem to be very loose in here, and I don't know why. They're definitely in the right way. So what I might do is I'm just going to put these back in, put a little glue cement just over the top there to stop that pin falling out for a second. So I'm putting the tiniest drop of glue just over the tops here to stop that pin falling out. But it will still keep the movement inside. So when I say tiny, I mean tiny. But that is now those into place. Just going to give you an idea of how this is now looking. And that is actually all there is to do in that stage. Now I am going to keep all of these spare pins that I've got here in a bag, because you never know how many are going to ping off in the future. But looking pretty good. And there you go, that's it for another week. Definitely keep your eye on those pins because they could fall out. I do recommend just putting a little tiny bit of glue just on the outsides of each bit so that the actual axle's motion of it can still work, but it just stops the pins falling out. But other than that, it's gone together pretty well. Now, once again, if you want to get this for yourself, I'll put a link in the video description. Also a QR code on the screen, but I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.